having that tree on the ground.
Okay, thank
now,
you.
Now, let me tell you, there are 400 cases. You're going to have a line of people here. The story is going to be the same over and over again.
I believe
Alice,
that.
there's 400 mulch cases?
There are 400 cases of abuses by DERM in the 8.5 square mile area.
Okay, what I would like to do, let's move this.
Next.
Let's let Mr. Espinosa respond just very quickly.
Sí,
Okay,
no, permítame, para terminar, necesito decir esto. Yo me presenté ya en corte anteriormente, acusado por DERM. Fui solo, fueron todos los inspectores con abogado y todo, y prácticamente quedaron humillados frente al juez. ¿Qué sucedió?
He went to court with all their attorneys, and they practically were humiliated by the judge.
Presentaron pruebas de un árbol caído, estructura ilegal. Yo soy de origen campesino, me gustan tener animales. Presentaron pruebas, una jaula de gallina como estructura ilegal.
They presented proof against me. The fallen tree, the trailers, where I had my chickens.
Okay, Alice, I'm going to have to stop you here. We have a long line of people.
Permita un solo segundo, por favor.
I'm sorry. We've gone about 10 minutes on the issue, and I need to let Mr. Espinosa respond. So let me let Mr. Espinosa respond, and then we'll go to the next person.
Quiero que escuche mi voz. Terminó. Le preguntó el juez a ellos, ¿sacó el MOLS? Sí lo sacó. ¿Sacó la estructura? Lo sacó. ¿Cumplió todo lo que ustedes le dijeron? Sí, él cumplió. El juez le preguntó, ¿por qué lo trajeron aquí si él cumplió todo?
Thank you. I know you're frustrated. Believe me, I understand, Alice. I know it's repeating a lot. I understand the frustration. I really do.
The judge asked the questions. Did you do everything that you were told to do? He was. He presented the proof. And the judge said, then why have you brought this man to court?
Yes.
I think one of the things that I want to speak to you all about is none of these things are personal in my part. Okay, not absolutely. You make it personal. I don't make it personal. We try to be professional. There's some rules and some regulations that we have to follow. Okay, we try to enforce those rules and deal with those rules in the best way that we can and treat people fairly. Now, because you come see me, I cannot basically eliminate rules or regulations. I mean, I do everything I can to facilitate your ability to meet the requirements, but sometimes that is not possible. And there are cases here in which I see people coming up. I mean, a number of these cases have gone to court because we have spent 5 years trying to work things out with the different applicants. And sometimes it just doesn't work, and it culminates in those. Some of those even have agreements that the applicants have signed before the judges. Others don't meet the requirements of the CDMP, don't meet other requirements, and we cannot help that. I mean, that's not something that we can control. And we try to help people follow the rules and get the permits and be able to do that. But sometimes that's not possible. And it's not personal by any of us. It's just we're dealing with the issues and the rules that we have. I mean, it's nothing personal.
Okay. Next case, please.
Thank you. My name is Ida Fernandez. Thank you, Commissioner Bell. Thank you all for having come here. Mr. Duval, it's a pleasure always to see you. Mr. Espinosa and all of you live in South Florida Water Management. Mr. Espinosa says that this is not personal. It's not personal because it's not hurting his pocket, it's filling his pocket. We are being hurt. We are farmers. We are property owners wherein our constitutional rights have completely been violated. I do not have a problem with people delineating or saying or driving by and saying, your property is a wetland. What I have a problem with is when there is no due process, where there is no compensation to the farmer, to the property owner, or to whomever is in charge of that and has paid their hard-working money for that property. So I don't have a problem, but I do take it personal when it hits my pocket, when it hits my life, when it hits my health, and when it hits everything that I got, and I'm losing everything right now. I'm in bankruptcy, and I've even gone through a hunger strike. I am going to go forward now and say my story. There are 8 people that I have taken the time from. Raise your hands, whoever give me their time, so that I can say my story. So there's a lot of minutes here. Bear with me. I am emotional and I take it very personally. And after you hear this, then you will know why. My name is Ida Fernandez. I am a mother and a grandmother, and I'm also a 3rd-generation farmer. I have a property containing 7.5 acres located in the remaining protected part of the 8.5 square mile area. Back in 2005, Miami-Dade County Department of Environmental Resources, here present, unilaterally classified at their discretion property as wetland. As admitted by Carlos Espinosa, director of DERM, in an interview by Carmel Cafiero, Channel 7, who is present right here, and thank you very much, back in 2009, Mr. Espinosa says how DERM's employees decide at their discretion if you're a wetland simply conducting a drive-by or by a helicopter drive. No soil test, no water test, no methodology. Once that is done, the nightmare begins. And it is not a dream anymore. This becomes a nightmare, like the previous person said. I have been harassed, coerced, intimidated, and judicially persecuted. Not personally, sir, because I know you're here and you work for DERM, you work for the state or the county. The judicial persecution has cost me $220,000 in legal defense. $220,000. In April of 2010, I was coerced into signing an agreement wherein I'm to destroy all of my agricultural operations. I call it extortion agreement because I had to endure all the motions filed against me in court. Changes of judges back and forth in my cases, depositions, injunctions, and many hearings to hold me in contempt of court. They went as far as to give me a restraining order on my property paid by my money. I had to file bankruptcy so that the bankruptcy judge could stop them from incarcerating me because this was being discussed between my attorney and the county attorney. That scared me pretty bad. After that hearing, DERM continued the persecution. One of the judges granted me a stay and urged me to appeal in the 3rd District Court in regards to what Mr. Humble said based on the ADUDA file. I did appeal. I placed my bond of $12,000 extra. I won, obviously in the preliminary hearing, it came out favorably, and it would have been won if I could have been allowed to kept on. That was my case that you were talking about. After that, immediately after the DERM filed a motion to remove my stay. That left me unprotected and at their disposition. This is an example as to how DERM is empowered by the 11th Judicial Court to serve their purpose of stealing your land and your rights. They continue threatening me. I was cited to a deposition where they put emphasis on the judge that I had not stopped my illegal agricultural operations. Needless to say, I have federal permits, state permits, and water permit from South Florida Water Management on that site, on that property. It is totally illegal. I was not planting pot. It was not marijuana. It was simple hibiscus crop, nursery crop, which is allowed on that, on the agricultural. And I also have agriculture exemption. Although I have all my permits, in the deposition they told me